Hello there guys, Elita Legionarii here, and today I have a 4vs4 31k for Rome Total War. Now this battle is about 2 months old, done in the later stages of November of 2014. Now, during this battle there was something really interesting happen, and I wanted to give particular credit to a certain player in this battle. You may have noticed from the thumbnail that I want to give particular credit here to Titan's clan member Hades, as I've named the thumbnail Noble Hades, because he basically makes a very noble sacrifice for his team in this battle, and I thought it was really good. And I want to pay particular attention to this sort of thing, because not enough players get credit when they do something like this on Battlefield, and they end up getting basically destroyed, but don't really get any credit because they might have done something very effective for the team. And Hades basically sacrifices himself in this game, and it really does save his team, or basically enables his team a much more clear battle than what otherwise might have been. But anyway, I'm playing as Germania in this battle. Now my army consists of, I believe it is, I think it's 7 units of Chosen Axemen. I believe it is 4 units of Night Raiders, 3 Berserkers, and 6 Gothic Cavalry. Now you may have noticed here that my army is sort of broken into 2 little groups. Now what I was going to try in this battle was something a little bit different, and probably not advisable necessarily for Germania, but nonetheless it could be very, very effective. And I was going to try and initiate 2 mass routes on 2 different locations with Germania, so as to try and get a really rapid mass route quickly, without having to try and initiate it a second time, as you ordinarily would probably need to in, say, a normal game with Germania, where you'd kind of have all your German forces en masse. So I was going to try and initiate it on 2 sections of the battlefield. Now the rewards for a success of that is extremely high, because you'll get multiple mass routes all over the battlefield very quickly in the game, and it can end in a very quick victory for your team. But it also means that you have less sort of power concentrated. The scare effect is harder to initiate, and you have less impact, and you've also got much less defense against the already vulnerable weaknesses that Germania has to cavalry charges. So you do have probably a lot more risks when you do that, by dividing your forces on 2 ends, sort of like that, what I was going to try here. So I prefer the other method of concentrating and focusing my forces with Germania, but it's a good idea to try different things, which is essentially what I was trying to do here. Anyway, Hades' army consists of, I believe it was 4 Archer Auxilia, 6 Praetorians, and 10 Urbans. And then we got Parker here, ex-Wolves member. His army consists of, I believe it was 14-6. He's playing as a Julii. And then we have Titan's clan member Mohammed, who is in command of the Brutii Romans also. He is also at 14-6. Then we have Odin. Now this was when Odin was part of Brotherhood. Odin has joined up with Indy and Thor, and they've created their own clan. I believe it's called TNG. But back at this stage he was still a member of Brotherhood. So he has got 13-6 and a legionary first cohort. Here's the Scipii Romans. And then we have another Scipii with Indy here. He's got 14-6 for his army. Then we have ScorpionKing SR-Macedon. SR has got 6 companion cavalry, 5 archers, and 9 royal pikemen. And then we have Heaven Clan's member Cornovi. Cornovi has actually left the Heaven Clan, I believe, since we did this battle. He's got 3 regular archers, 1 militia hoplite, I believe it is. The rest are all Spartans, and then a general's armoured bodyguard. So, because this battle kind of initiates on 2 sort of ends of the battle, what I'm going to do in this battle is I'm going to show the action that Hades sort of undertakes at the start, and then I'll show you the rest of the battle, and I'll go back and I'll show you the stuff that's going on the right side, because it'll be too difficult for me to catch both sides simultaneously. I don't want to miss anything, basically. So anyway, let's begin. At this early stage of the battle now, I think SR and Cornovi were going to rush quickly, and they're trying to trap me and run me out of room, because Germania is very poor against pikes. It's got absolutely no hope against the Greek cities. It can be very good against Germania. Sorry, not Germania. Germania can be very good against Macedon if it can get behind it or on its flanks and get a mass scare effect. That's pretty easy to rout the Royal Pikemen that way. But if you can't get around Macedon, it's got no chance of beating Macedon either. And usually has to rely on Ally to try and tie them down, which is a smart move for them to make a rush like this, because Hades has only got 10 infantry units, and he can't tie down this many Spartans and Royal Pikemen by himself. And I know this, and I know he knows this as well. So I believe what Hades tries to do here is he tries to busy up both of them, or at least it's what I believe he was trying to do, and I wanted to support him as much as I could, but I knew I had a very, very limited chance of being much good to him here because of just how many pikes there are. It wouldn't be that difficult for them to just put a few of these pikemen forward here to block Hades and use the rest to stop me getting any flank with Germania, and I would have basically no chance whatsoever to be able to really help Hades here. So I think what Hades is going to try and do is he's going to try and drag this fight out and tie these two down as long as possible. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to at least try and find a way to support him if possible. But I'm going to send this section of my army with my general up here to Mo and Parker to try and help them quickly destroy their opponents so we can get down here and help Hades. So Hades has rushed in here. I probably would have done a little bit more delaying if I had been him, but he probably didn't have much option to do so. So he's rushed in here and he's going to try and do as much damage as he can, but this is not going to be easy for him to do because he's so enormously outnumbered. So I'm going to try and help him here, but if you look, there's still lots of pikes that can be left free to block the back here. Hades really has only got 10 infantry, and these guys don't even need half their infantry to stop that, so it's going to be extremely easy for them to use pikes to block me getting a flank charge with my Germania army, and I'm not going to have much success. Hades goes in for a charge here on Macedon, this Macedon Royal Pikeman, although he doesn't get a very good angle here, but he hits it from the back as well simultaneously, and that should destroy it or do severe damage to it. He has to pull out of it though, but he's done a pretty good amount of damage to it. And I'm trying to use my my cav here, and as I said, I'm trying to get around the back to try and support him here. And I've got to get away from these archers too, because otherwise I'm going to get shot up pretty badly. So if we just take a little stock here and we pause it, we can see that Hades' infantry is completely tied down into melee here, and he's not going to have a show against us. There's just way too many enemy infantry, and the Spartans are in greater numbers and are stronger than his Urbans when they're in greater numbers like this, and his Macedon pike supporting him. So it's pretty bleak for him. He really doesn't have much chance of winning, but what he's doing is he's tying down 2 pike armies, which is going to leave me free to go and assist my allies. But I'm going to try and assist Hades as much as possible and keep him in this long enough to get the long stall. So I'm sending my cav with his cav, and this is the one part of Hades' army that survives quite substantially, is his cavalry, and he does make extremely good use of it in my opinion. But I'm trying to see if there's a potential opening to get at some of these units. But at this stage I'm just going to pick off whatever archers I can, and maybe me and Hades were thinking we might be able to try and take out this little group of 3 units here, and try and pick away at whatever we can, whatever we could, and do as much damage as possible. Now my guys were still chasing that archer, so I need to pull back, but SR brings out his cavalry to come and try and deal with this. And I decided to turn around and take this fight because I believe he's extended himself far enough out from his support structure here, so I'm going to go around and take it. I've got the numerical advantage here, so I'm going to take it, and Hades immediately sees what's going on. He comes in to support me. There's a bit of archer fire coming in, so I need to be a wee bit careful here, but between the two of us we should be able to get rid of some of these companion cavalry relatively easily without too much worry of much damage. But as you can see at this stage, Hades has lost his infantry, and he's stalled quite a while. At least half the battle he's managed to stall 2 armies by himself, but it's been the ultimate sacrifice. It's cost him all his army except his cavalry, and a couple of his missile units I believe are still roaming around the battlefield, which he'll use to be a nuisance. So This is what I want to give honour to Hades for, because what he's actually done here is caused a substantial advantage over the other side of the battle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go edit it back to the start of the battle, and I'll show you what was happening on the other side of the battle while me and Hades were busy over here trying to sort of stall. So I'll come back to this in a moment. Okay guys, I'm back here at the start and we're over on Parker and Mo's side. So let's have a look-see and see how this initiates. So it looks like Mo was starting off pretty aggressive here with this cav, and he was going to try to rush forward, maybe try and get a bit of an angle here on Odin while he's sort of got his flank turned there. And Parker's just going to sort of move forward and I think immediately try and engage Indy over here. So I think what he's doing here, you can see Mo, he's trying to get him behind all these sort of infantry units here and just harass them a bit. So they're a bit separate at the moment though, so they probably want to work to get a little bit closer together, but Parker's got a good rush move going here. He's going to catch much of Indy's forces here. He probably should have pushed a little bit faster here and he could have got his flank a little quicker, but these two are probably just going to end up lining up relatively equally here. But if you can see here, look at this. I'm not sure what Odin was doing here, but he's taken his cav a long way away when it was very clear that Mo wanted to rush him. So he should have kept his cav nearby, because now we can see that Mo is going to really thunder in here. And these guys are not actually braced or standing still or anything, so Mo will probably get a good number of kills here on these guys. And he should be able to withdraw his cavalry without taking any peeler damage. So good start there for Mo, and it was a bit of a mistake there by Odin to take his cavalry so far away from his infantry when it was pretty obvious that Mo wanted to do this. Although, having said that, he didn't get a very good disengagement here, and Odin does manage to recover with a couple of routes here, but they will come back, and he has lost quite a bit of infantry there. So a good start for Mo there, taking control of that. I do apologise for that spinning screen. I think my mouse on my pad is overreacting, but basically bit of a peeler duel going on here. It looks like a couple of these units took a bit of a pasting from Parker, who threw them over the back. If we look here, his Indy's cav has come through here, but he's put himself in the way of a lot of peeler, and he's going to take quite a nasty hit there, and then we're going to get a counter coming in from Parker, and this will rout a pretty good number, I think 2 or 3 routes. 3 routes there coming in. Here we can see Mo making a pretty nice move here. Look at this, he's going to slice down the side, although he's a little too exposed, I think, to the counter charge from Odin. But I think what would have been better here is if Mo had done this when Parker was ready to go again. They could have got like a simultaneous charge coming on 2 angles. I bet you that would have had a massive routing effect on Indy. But suffice to say, Mo is still going to get a pretty good amount of routes, but he's going to get pretty much hammered by both of their cavalry immediately, so he's going to lose his cavalry doing that. If we look up here, Mo is putting down peeler fight here with Odin. He's got good position on him, and as we can see, Parker is going to get a good counter cavalry charge in here as well. Bloody ignore, my mouse is a little bit over the top. So at this stage, I think even though Mo's lost his cavalry, or most of it doing this, we look at the kind of disruption and serious mess it's caused in Indy's lines here, and what's going to happen is these guys are going to get completely outflanked and they're totally out of formation, and Parker should be able to destroy them. And if we look here, I've brought my first initial army. His little group has come over, because on the other wing, as you can see, we're basically up to where we were before, dealing with those cav over there. It's mostly over at that stage for Hades over there, but we can see that these guys are starting to mass rout, and that's pretty much Indy's force defeated. If we look over here, however, looks like there's just a steady sort of peeler duel going on here between Mo, but with Indy destroyed, it's only a matter of time before Parker can outflank, and I've got 2 berserkers over here and some chosen axemen. If I get a nice charge in, it should be easy enough to initiate a mass rout. However, my guys are a little bit tired from running all the way over here, but it's nothing drastic. I haven't lost too much. Some reason my berserker ran over this way. I don't know why that was. It would have been better if I'd had both. But I decided to charge through here because I know that these guys have more or less thrown all their peeler, so I have little to worry about from that. And with the scare effect, it should do a bit of damage, and I know that these guys are going to come in on the flank any moment now. So I'm going to pour it on here, and Mo will probably follow me up here anyway, and with him coming in on the flank like this, it'll just be a pretty huge solid mass rout indeed. And it should start pretty soon. We're pouring it on now. These guys are going to hit the flank, and Odin's Scipii army is going to mass rout at this stage. So at least one of my little armies got a mass rout going on here, with a bit of support from my ally, but it's going to roll it over now, and as you can see, his army is going to start routing pretty much en masse. Mo's sent a couple of infantry units here to block a counter cavalry charge. Good move, and now we have Parker coming in for a final rear charge to try and take out the remainder here. And because there's berserkers here and there's a rout going and everything, it should almost immediately rout any of this cavalry that comes in. I was a little bit worried, but because of my infantry sort of being exposed there to the cavalry charge, but the rout was significant enough and the numbers were there, and as you can see, that's the end of Odin's army as well. So the whole good thing about this fight is we've destroyed 2 armies on this side for the loss of just Hades' army over here, which gives us the edge, because I still have, as you can see, all my infantry here, which is pretty tired by now because it's been running all over the battlefield. But not only is this Macedon and Greek army slightly depleted, both the Scipii armies are completely destroyed, and a few of the Macedon cav is taken out as well. And we still have, I have like pretty much all of my infantry left, and as you can see, Mo and Parker still have a lot of theirs left as well, and Parker's still got a pretty good number of cavalry rather, and both Hades and myself, Hades did manage to save his cavalry, as did I manage to save my own, and we pour our cavalry in on here, and we're going to take out the remainder of these guys here. So between the two of us, we still have our cavalry good, so we do have a cavalry advantage going on for us as well, which is great. And we managed to take out the we should be able to, we wanted to stay here and take out the Macedonian general, so that's why we're sort of hanging around there, but I decided to pull out because there's pikes hanging around. But suffice to say, we've now definitely got the cavalry advantage, and we have numerical superiority in terms of numbers. We're just giving our guys a bit of a chance to get some rest at this stage. My berserkers are still sort of going for it over here, so hopefully they'll come back soon, but I'm trying to regroup my guys here. These guys are pretty damn tired. Some of these Scipii cav come in and try and harass my guys a bit, so I just get over here and try and get rid of them quickly before they cause too much of a nuisance. And these guys here are still tired as well, but I'm just trying to get them into a position next to my allies, give them a chance to freshen up. But as you can see, there's still a pretty large number of Spartans, so there's definitely, this is not absolutely in the bag for us or anything, but we do have a definite infantry supremacy here, because Macedon's pretty depleted with his pikes. The cav for Macedon's gone more or less. The archers are still around, but a wee bit depleted, whereas we've still got a very large number of infantry and a good number of cavalry, and I've still got berserkers. I've still got pretty much full numbers with most of my axemen, so it's definitely looking good for us at this stage. And this really comes down to Hades basically making the sacrifice, stalling 2 armies, giving the rest of us the time to destroy the other 2 on the other wing, which has enabled us to come out of this particular part of the fight with most of the advantages. So we can see they're lining up here, and what we're going to try and do now is try and get around the flank, and I'm going to try and shift my army to a flank here, and I'm going to try and shift it to the Macedon flank, because I know Macedon will be the easier of the 2 to rout onto the flank. And once these guys sort of pour in on Greece and I get them behind them, I should be able to take them out. And I've still got a good number of cav left too, although this berserker is still going nuts, so it's a bit unfortunate. But I've still got 2 full berserkers here. My army is pretty tired though, but it shouldn't matter too much at this stage, because these guys are all a bit winded too, and they're depleted, so it's not a drastic thing that they're tired, although it would be better if they were rested. But at this stage, as you can see, this Macedon army's got no chance against this number of sort of infantry units here. Now I can't stop this berserker running straight to the front of these pikes. That's a bit unfortunate, but it should drop their morale a bit, and as you can see, these units actually just rout just because of those berserkers are there. Now I think it actually stopped berserking here, and I didn't realise it done that, so I could have pulled my guys back there. But myself and Hades are going in behind now, and we're going to try and deal with them, and Mo follows this up trying to take advantage of the berserkers being nearby, getting some scare effect, and he's going to pour it in on here. And over here, the two of us, between Hades and myself, using Mohammed and myself, using our cavalry here to get rid of some of these units in the back here. See these pikes coming back to get us, so we're going to pull back. As you can see, the Greeks are sort of breaking up a bit in their attack, so Parker's just going to spread out a little bit and try and surround them. In the back here, we're trying to deal with the remainder of these companion cavalry. There are Spartans back here, though, to be a bit careful of that. But at this stage, I'm putting down War Cry at this stage, get the scare effect on these Macedon troops, and basically I'm going to put the nail in the Macedon troops' coffin and finish them off. Because as you can see, over here, mine and Hades' cav mass routed on these pikes, but I think it's going to come back. But I think it will come back, because at this stage I'm going to get my berserkers. I'm going to go straight for the flank here. Mo's going to pour on simultaneously here. And this Macedon horde won't last very long under this. Sending more of my infantry around the flank here, and I'm going to send these guys in and probably going to go for Greece, because Greece has somehow ended up getting himself sort of surrounded there. Cavalry, I believe, has regrouped. And these guys are trying to force us out, but there's just no opening for them here. And as you can see, look at that, Macedon just mass routed, all like that. And now Germania, I bring the rest of my German troops in, and I'm going to work with Parker to get the complete surround on the Spartans here. So the Axemen coming into the flank there, and we're going to completely surround them. At this stage, my Cav is regrouped in the back there, so I'll probably just pick up some of the routers and help whatever units out here. The Spartans are still holding on, of course, but as you can see, a very big rout starting to take place even among the Spartans there, and now Mo's pouring his infantry in, and these guys are just a few seconds away from mass rout, and there you go, the whole lot of them go. So it's not too often you see Greek Spartans just mass routing like that, but under the right circumstances even they will too. And they've managed to do so there. So this was a really good game, but I do not believe for a moment that any of our success would have really, or at least long-term success, would have been possible if Hades had not made that sacrifice and given up his infantry and his archers to hold the Greeks and the Macedonian army at bay. If he hadn't done that, I don't think I would have found an opening for my Germans, because I would have been all over there with the side of the pikes. Although having said that, Mo and Parker did look to be on top of their side of the fight, but it probably wouldn't have been quite as dominantly in our favour had I not been able to get the Germans up there as quickly as I did. But that only happened because Hades was quick enough or willing enough to sacrifice his army. And at the end of the day, I think, it's just something I always feel nobody gets credit for doing that sort of thing, and I want to give credit to him in this battle because I think what he did was great, because it basically, it's one of those things that carried the whole team victory. And if we look at his scorecard here, 750 kills, which in my opinion was probably almost entirely with his cavalry, and the scorecard in as of itself is not really that impressive, but his actions during the battle enabled Parker, myself and Mo to finish off the remainder. And if we look here, Parker has over 2,000 kills, and myself and Mo both have 1,300 and 1,250. And only Cornovi's really sort of got a large amount of kills. SR just breached 1,000, but I mean, if we look at Indy here, only 345, and Odin 836. If we look at my specific units here, one of these chosen Axemen got 200 kills. Some of them got some pretty high kills here. The Berserkers, of course, always tend to do very well if you get them in the right spot. And my Cav worked with some nice combos with Hades' Cav there, and it was pretty nice. So, well done to Hades though in this fight, because I think his actions really enabled the rest of us to carry through the win, even though it cost him his army to do so. And again, I just think players who are willing to do that are good team players, because it's a team action, and it's teams that win you these games. And at the end of the day, he made this extremely important sacrifice for his team, which enabled the rest of us to get the win. So great game to everybody. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And let's honour Hades with a great action of sacrifice for the team. So thanks again, guys, and we'll see you soon next time.